Hey, I'm Michael Martinez of SEO Theory. I'm the president of Reflective Dynamics, and I'm here with Kent Yunk, the vice president of Roaring Pajamas SEO. Hello, Kent. How are you?
Hello, Michael. I'm good. I'm good. Beautiful day here in Northern California.
It's a beautiful day here in Georgia. Uh, I will start off this video with one side note. I'm sorry about all the shootings that have happened this week. This is July 8th, 2016, as we record this, and it's just been a really tragic week for the whole country. So I was actually kind of up last night following events in Dallas, and a little bit tired today. But I just wanted to say that I don't agree with the shootings, the random shootings by police of young black men. But I definitely don't agree with the shootings of police by angry people, regardless of what ethnic group they come from. So, well, Kent and I had quite a long discussion before we started recording, and we covered a lot of really interesting stuff. And he said, "You know what, Michael? Why don't we cover some of this stuff for our viewers?" So, we'll be talking today about building sites around content. I guess is that the way you put it?
But yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you want to phrase that for us?
Sure. So I think, and this is certainly my experience. I mean, when you build a site, and it's not necessarily around your business, so to speak, but you build a site because you care about the content or you want to really generate some traffic around a particular topic. I think it's really super important to realize that as the search engines have evolved, they have gotten a lot more focused on the usability of the site. So the user experience has gotten ever more increasingly important to the search engines in the algorithm, right? Early on, it didn't matter how the site looked, as long as it had good content and keywords on it, and the keywords were placed in the right place. There's a pretty small list of requirements. Now, the list of requirements, not only has it ballooned, but the intelligence of the crawler in terms of what it looks at the site has really ballooned as well. And so now you have situations where you can have a site that has good content, but if the usability is not there, if it's not mobile friendly, there are a bunch of factors that can have a dramatic effect on how well that site ranks and how it performs from an organic traffic standpoint.
Yeah, I agree. I think usability is a huge. I'm going to say it's a set of factors. I don't think there's a single usability score. I don't think you think that either. It's a nice catch-all phrase, but usability factors come in packages or in sets, and I think that the search engine has become really good, and Bing to a certain extent too, because they see the same kind of signals in the data that Google does, but they've become really good at identifying certain types of usability going well with certain situations, contexts. I think really what we might want to say is that the search engine is appreciating user value, which includes the usability. But what's the value to the user of the website? What is its function? So you might have a high quality real estate website that is available for all the local searches around here. But if I'm driving down the road and I'm searching for housewares, I don't really need a house website. And so that basic old school relevance still comes into what goes into choosing a particular website for a query. And then one of the things that Kent and I were talking about before we started recording was monetization, conversion rate optimization, and finding the right advertising for websites. Some websites are constructing native advertising that is search findable, and that is going to make the search engines task a little more challenging. So let's take a real estate site like Zillow. Let's play some what if SEO with Zillow. Suppose Zillow were to be approached by a furniture vendor, okay? And they worked out a deal where whatever listings Zillow contributes toward a sale, there's some sort of product placement for furniture. Because if you buy a house, what are you going to do? You're probably going to buy some furniture. Even if you have furniture and you're just buying a new house to replace your old house, you may still be buying some furniture. That might be a weak illustration, but there are websites right now that are cutting deals to make placement in search for partner content. And what's the search engine going to do with that? If I'm really not searching for a house, but I'm searching for something for my house, would it be appropriate for a search engine to show me a website like Zillow, assuming the site had appropriate secondary content? And I'm drawing a blank. There's a big website that you and I have talked about in the past, Kent, that is kind of in the real estate market, and they do actually promote secondary stuff. And I know without a name, you're drawing a blank too, but it's just a huge house, It's a huge website, and business owners can put their own accounts on it. Bad blast it. Should have had this part of the discussion before we started recording. At any rate, it's happening, okay? And it is happening in what I would consider to be local-oriented web search. It's just not happening a lot yet. It hasn't quite become the new formula for success or something like that. But what the search engine finds on your website has to somehow compute into value for the user in the context of the user as they're searching at the moment. And it's a much more complicated environment than it was, say, 5 or 6 years ago.
And Michael, I'm hoping that you can elaborate on this too. I mean, as SEO consultants, we're often, they're like, hey, get our site so that it ranks and that it drives more organic traffic. The problem is that what we try to do inevitably is we try to be able to help clients understand the revenue component of organic search, which means that not only are we involved in how to optimize the site and what factors need to be performed, what tactics need to be performed to get the site to perform better organically, but also once people get to the page, right? So we help structure the content so that we set the expectation in the search results page of what they're going to get when they get to the page, right? By modifying the title and the description and putting a call to action in that meta description. But when they get to the page, we also need to pay attention to the fact that, what do we want them to do when they get there, right? We want them to convert. Whatever that conversion metric is, we want to have that happen in a better way after the work that we do. And so we often will provide suggestions as to how to structure the page, the content, images, layout, etc., so that there's a natural flow for the user when they get to the page to get to a place where we can take the next logical step, which is, fill out a form, go to a specific landing page that is monetized. I mean, there's a whole bunch of sort of conversion triggers that we can tie the performance of somebody coming from organic search. And so that's one of the things that we end up doing is absolutely connecting those dots, right? Connecting the search traffic to conversions.
Lots of my clients have said to us, it's great if you can get us more traffic, but what we want is more business. And so you have to be careful with your SEO recommendations. You can't just say, well, this will get you 100,000 visitors a month. If those 100,000 visitors a month don't convert into more sales, then you've accomplished nothing for the client. And so you also have to take into consideration, what putting all those conversion points on the page is going to do to the search engine's assessment of the page. There are people, particularly in the affiliate fields, who over monetize their websites and they get penalized. or if not penalized, the algorithms downgrade them for poor quality. And so creating a bad user experience in your quest for monetization is negative or the wrong kind of search optimization. The SEO specialist needs to understand what can hurt a website and make good recommendations about how to manage the balance between building traffic and converting the traffic. So, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. And so so you were just talking before we started the actual video, you were talking about the fact that part of the challenge that site owners have is really picking the right ad platform, right?
Yeah.
And some of those factors that go into picking the right ad platform differ, right? Because some ad platforms will do really well on certain topical sites, while others don't.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we're talking about passive income models right now. We're not talking about the local business owner running ads on his website. But for passive, for bloggers who want to publish a lot of content and make money off of it, there's just a real challenge in finding a good match. For one thing, you can't just throw AdSense on everything. For another, AdSense doesn't always make a lot of money. And most people that I know or know of who share their AdSense experiences, as much as the program policies will allow them, say that they're making less money now than they were making several years ago. And there are a number of reasons why that is the case, but that's just the case for a lot of people. So if you're not generating millions of page views a month, then how you convert the traffic that you get is really very important. And so the choice of advertising platform that you use as a publisher is very important, because you're not going to find the same monetization value in every platform. Like we've tried to replace AdSense on some low performing websites with Chitika, and so far we haven't really seen any value in the Chitika placements. It's not a good match. It doesn't make Chitika a bad service, because there are people who swear by Chitika. They say they make a lot of money off of it. Obviously, we're not running the same kind of content that they're running, and we have websites where we don't run AdSense. I was telling Kent about one before we were talking that I just started working on recently, and it gets thousands of visits a month. But my partner Randy told me not to put AdSense on it, so not putting AdSense on it. It's really a tough choice. But this kind of touches on something that I put in today's newsletter, which Kent has not read, so I'm not going to go on at length about it. But the mobile marketplace is changing the relationship between business and consumer. Okay, I don't want to say publisher and visitor. I want to say business and consumer. And in traditional SEO or SEO in all its various forms up to today, we are always taught that you build a website and then you attract search traffic to it. Well, in the mobile marketplace, it's going to end up working a little bit differently, in my opinion. It's already starting to turn out that way. The business has to search for the consumer in the mobile marketplace, and you do that differently. You're not entering queries into a search engine to find customers. What you're doing is you're looking. I guess you could say you're experimenting with different platforms for creating visibility for your app or your website for your business, and the technologies that are emerging are going to really make it necessary for businesses to create portable brand messages. A portable brand message is something that you can project to a location at a time when you know that there are people there who would respond well to your message. It's not a guaranteed sale, but it's a way that we're going to have to develop tools and technologies to make businesses aware of when and where the customers are that are using mobile technology to search for their products or services or whatever. So it's we have two ships in the night. We don't want them passing each other. We want them to meet. This is going to be a real challenge. And it's going to change the way SEO works for a lot of companies, because they're not going to call it SEO, but it is search engine optimization. What the search engines will be are not what the search engines are today. We're just going to have new technologies that people are going to use to find customers, and you know, it's all going to be about finding customers and then getting your message to those customers in a timely fashion in the mobile marketplace. Um, Waiting for people to download your app in the app store takes too long. So it's
Yeah, I'm sure that's true, and I'm sure it's challenging just to market your mobile app. So, yep, I can see how that would be difficult. And the move to mobile is pretty ubiquitous. And I'm seeing sites where 60 to 70% of their traffic now, initial traffic on a monthly basis, is mobile.
yeah, there's a lot. Target recently redesigned their website to look like their mobile app. I mean, it's a horrible experience, and I complained to them about it on Twitter. But if you go to the Target website today, you'll see a mobile interface, and it's not very usable on a desktop. Whoever designed that website was not really understanding the fact that there is still a desktop market. Um, but what they did do right is, and I can attest to this because I'm a Target customer, and I used their app or their website in the Target store just a couple of days ago this week. Um, it's really fast. It puts actionable content right where I want it, and it just helps me get to what I'm looking for very quickly. By comparison, Walmart's mobile experience drags. It doesn't even come close to what Target was able to give me. And that day I went from Target to Walmart to do some comparison shopping. Walmart actually had more products in the area that I was looking for than Target did. But Target was able to account for every product on its shelf in that store. Walmart was not able to do that. And that's, the customer was right there in the store trying to make a purchase. And the business failed to connect with the customer, failed to identify my need, failed to identify that I was in existence. I mean, Walmart's mobile experience just is not very good. But when you create a good mobile experience like Target did, you don't want to create a bad desktop experience like Target did. So people need to decouple the desktop from the mobile experience, and remember that it's not that mobile is taking away from the desktop. Mobile grew on its own. The desktop, there's still pretty much the same market there that was there a few years ago. It's just not it's not growing as fast as the mobile market because it's easier for us to use this wherever we are than it is for us to use a desktop computer wherever we are.
I completely agree. I think that's one of those discussions about progressive degradation. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but progressive degradation is you design for the user, and you design so that regardless of platform, you still get prioritized content in a format that makes sense, but still provides both consistency and richness based on the platform.
Yeah. You can do a lot more on a desktop platform for the user experience than you can do on a mobile platform.
Of course.
And to treat the two as the same is like throwing away money, walking away from business, turning away customers. Just, I can't put it any more succinctly than that.
Right.
So, well, there was another point that you wanted to bring up. I don't remember if we covered it or not. We we could talk a little bit more about the content, building a website around content if you want, I suppose. How do you want to go?
How are we doing on time?
We have time.
Well, I think sort of basic SEO is you have a content site, you know what the content is, and you need to find ways to play with the the audience so that you can pick the best keywords for new content, and it's sort of the whole content planning piece where you really are figuring out how to build out those sites for content. And I'm sure that it's not a problem for an e-commerce site like Target, but it is a challenge for sites that focus on news and focus on related articles and things of that sort. So I think I just wanted to talk briefly about figuring out what the best content is for a site based on what you can see. I know you were talking briefly about the site that you just started working on, and figuring out how do I put what articles do I put up next. I think making those calls based on what you think is high demand versus low demand.
Yeah. Well, we talked about 2 websites before we started this. I'm assuming you mean the second one where all the I was restoring old content that had been taken down. Mm-hmm. And so that content was written to be timely. It was written in response to contemporary events. Mm-hmm. And there are still residual queries for that content, but there's not nearly as much interest for those particular topics as there was when those articles were first published. It's just the nature of that particular niche. And every website that's in that niche has to deal with that. So that's a niche where you just have to constantly publish in order to build and keep your audience. And for that particular website, we don't have the time and the resources right now to do that. So the question was, how do you take this older content and shape it so that it builds some traffic and creates real value for the customers? I was talking to Kent about how I was trying to monetize the site, because the advertising can sometimes make the website actually a little more interesting. If you put the right ads on the website, then people they actually will go look for ads, believe it or not. There are other types of content, supplemental content, that you can put on a website to enhance its value to the user. And Kent and I had not talked about what I have done there on that website, but in this particular case, I was also starting to experiment with videos, embedding videos. A lot of websites embed videos now. There's so many videos out there to be embedded that you don't have to look far to find something. Now, a lot of the videos are being monetized. You may not want to run ads for somebody else where you're not going to get any money, but in the short term, that's about the only choice that you have until you can get to the point where you can make your own videos. So you can put widgets on your website. The widgets can be audio or video. They can be promotional widgets. They don't have to be traditional ads. They can be interactive promotions. We worked with a company a few years ago in England that was creating interactive HTML5 pages for their clients. And they were really, really cool pages. So I can see how you can take older content and provide some additional value for it, so that when the search engines come back and look at it, they're going to see something different. And you didn't really have to put a whole lot there, but the value is appreciable, particularly as you create a larger footprint across the website. And rebuilding or reconditioning old content is something that a lot more people are starting to look at right now, because the content engine is starting to smoke and wheeze a little bit, in my opinion. People are so heavily invested in what they call content marketing, which is not real content marketing. It's just publishing content wherever they can get it up, that they're running out of ideas. They're starting to get repetitive. And I've noticed that there are now people coming out with ways to recondition old content. Or in the worst case scenario, which is still happening a lot of SEO consultants are advising their clients to delete old content that isn't getting any traffic anymore, which is not it's not a very smart thing to do if the content still creates value for users. It's not that it's bad content, it's that it doesn't have any visibility. So when you choke off the visibility for your old content by publishing new content, You need to be a little more creative than just say, well, let's take the old content down because nobody else is looking at it anymore. We've actually published old content again and gotten new people to look at it, and that's just that's an area of SEO that could use a lot more experimentation. Unfortunately, most of the people who've been working in it that I've followed have been rather sleazy, and I suspect that the sleaze factor is going to establish quite an imprint in the republication of old content before people start to see the real value in it. So.
Well, yeah, and I think I agree with that. I mean, there's a certain amount of certainly when you build an evergreen article, right? Evergreen meaning that it isn't necessarily tied to a specific date event, but something that's very topical. I think there's real opportunity there to refresh that and republish it, or certainly update it and make sure that it's getting crawled.
Yeah, there's some media sites that do that every year with certain topics. 10 Best Cities to Live in America gets updated every year by the 2 or 3 websites that publish that kind of stuff. Top 10 careers, that those kinds of articles get refreshed every year. If the companies are smart, they keep the URL the same. Some companies put a date in the URL, which I'm not real happy with the way they do that. Some companies will keep the URL and archive the older article under a dated URL. I like that approach, but it does take a little extra effort. And then, of course, some companies just wipe out the old article, and you don't have any historical reference.
Yep.
But there are lots of evergreen topics that are underserved, underutilized, underoptimized, and I would say that even in product search, actually in product search, it should all be evergreen, really, until the product is taken out of the inventory. But a lot of companies will invest in seasonal promotions for products, and once those promotions are gone, they kind of archive them. And you find all these old, outdated, expired coupon pages and sale pages and things like that. I hate that. I just, as a consumer, I hate searching for a product and finding a great sale page only to find out that it's 4 years old. That's not the kind of search experience that I want, and that's not the kind of search experience that I want my clients to create for their potential customers.
That makes sense. No, that really good perspective. I appreciate that.
And so, this evergreen is one of those buzzwords that got abused, especially by the content marketers. Everything's supposed to be evergreen if you take the date out of it, right? There's just no way that removing a date makes an article evergreen, but apparently some people feel it does. If you're going to take dates out of your articles, and I think dates create value. I leave dates in a lot of our articles, but we also have content where we don't include the dates. If you're going to take dates out of your articles, then you should write about 10 years into the future, in my opinion. Even if you're wrong, you can come back and change it. The great thing about websites, if you publish a book, a printed book, you can't change it. You can issue a new edition, but you can't pull back all those old books that were sold and fix your errors and then republish them. It's never going to happen. With a website, you can always fix an error, and people will just get so upset. We launched with the wrong prices. Oh my God! The launch is when you get all your traffic. I've been told that more times than I can remember. And it's just not true. If you get all your traffic at launch, you're doing it wrong. You're going to get a lot of traffic at launch. I agree. The launch is going to go like this. Okay, that's fine. But this traffic down here, that should not be zero. There should be residual traffic. If it's evergreen, if it's a product listing, there should always be some sort of traffic for it, right? And so you can fix the problem. And if you've got that product on your website for 10 years, I'm pretty sure it's going to get more traffic over the course of those 10 years than it got on the launch date. It's going to make more money. The future is bigger than the moment. And search engine optimization really works best, in my opinion, when you focus on the future, not when you try and fix the moment. Because you can't keep the moment there.
Great. That's a great point.
So I think we are coming up on 30 minutes now. Any last thoughts?
No, I thought this was a great discussion. I really like the fact that you've spent so much time looking at content, understanding how content behaves, certainly trying to understand what content's going to behave well over time. I think that's really valuable, and certainly valuable. I learn a lot from that, but my hope is that the viewers will think so as well.
Well, there's some very good people out there who published some great case studies about content on large e-commerce websites. Bryson Inier is one of the big names in my book. When he publishes a case study, I usually read it. Adam Audette's people at Rim Kaufman, or what do they call themselves now? They usually publish some great case studies about landing page performance and things like that. And I've just, when you stop thinking about that one date and you think about the lifetime of the page, which these big case studies, that's what they're doing, is they're looking at, we took a 3-month time frame or whatever, or a 2-year time frame, or whatever it is. When you think about the performance of the page over time, then you're really able to optimize it better. There's no single date in SEO. There might be single dates in search engine marketing, but there's no single date in search engine optimization.
Good point. Okay,
well, thank you everybody for watching. Again, this video is going to be going up late. I still haven't gotten the last one up from, I don't know, I think 2 weeks ago. I'll try and get it up again. But this is Michael Martinez of SEO Theory.
Ken Yunk from SEO from Roaring Pajamas.
I say that more than you do. So we'll be trying to do this every Friday, and if we miss Friday, we'll be back the next. So y'all take care.
Take care.